When you place yourself in the act of chasing, something subtle yet powerful begins to happen. Without even realizing it, you start to tell yourself that what you are after is greater than what you already are. You create a silent hierarchy in your mind, where the woman you're pursuing suddenly appears to hold more worth than the person in the mirror. That invisible scale begins to tip, not because she is inherently more valuable, but because you've chosen to step into the role of the pursuer, the one who reaches while the other pulls away. And in that moment, your value does not shrink because it has actually changed, but because you've lowered it in your own perception and in the way others perceive you. Chasing sends a message that says, I am not enough as I am, so I must prove my worth by pursuing. Yet the truth is, worth is not proven by pursuit. It is revealed by presence. The more you chase, the more you hand over your power. You begin to live in response to another person's acceptance or rejection. You start waiting for their attention to validate your existence. And every time you wait, every time you bend, every time you stretch yourself thin just to gain proximity, you chip away at your self-respect. Respect is the foundation of confidence, and when you let it crumble, everything else follows. Think about this. When someone runs after something, they appear desperate, frantic, restless. The one who chases cannot also be the one who chooses, because their energy is consumed with trying to catch up. But the one who stands firm, the one who is grounded, radiates strength. Chasing takes you out of that position of power and places you in a game where the rules are written by someone else. Suddenly, your days are filled with waiting on replies, overthinking gestures, and trying to decode words that were never meant to hold so much weight. And the more you chase, the more you teach yourself that your time, your peace, and your presence are worth less than someone else's attention. Value is not something you earn by running harder or proving yourself endlessly. Value is something you embody when you recognize who you are and what you bring. Every time you chase, you hand over that recognition. You tell yourself and the world that your life is missing something only another person can provide. But when you step back and remind yourself of your wholeness, you begin to attract instead of chase. Attraction is rooted in confidence. Chasing is rooted in fear. One grows your spirit, the other drains it. And what happens when someone realizes they are being chased? They begin to feel superior, even if they were never seeking that position. Human nature often misinterprets pursuit as imbalance. The one being chased may start to believe they hold all the cards, that they're more desirable simply because someone else has placed them on a pedestal. This dynamic rarely leads to respect. Instead, it often leads to misuse. Because when you chase, you unconsciously train others to treat you as someone who will always come after them, no matter how they respond. True value does not scream for attention. It does not run after validation. True value is quiet, unshaken, undeniable. Think about the diamond deep in the earth. It doesn't move. It doesn't beg to be found. Its worth is in its being, not in its chasing. And yet, people go to great lengths to discover it. The same is true of your life. When you know your worth, you no longer need to chase because you understand that your presence is already the prize. Chasing diminishes your value because it makes you forget that love is not meant to be begged for. It is meant to be shared. When you chase, you shift the relationship from equality to imbalance, from mutuality to desperation. And that is never where strength is found. Strength is found in standing still, in walking with purpose, in knowing that your life has meaning whether or not someone chooses to notice it. The moment you stop chasing, you reclaim the energy that was never meant to be wasted on proving your worth to anyone who cannot already see it. And when you reclaim that energy, something changes within you. You start to move differently. You start to speak differently. You start to look at yourself differently. And in that transformation, others begin to notice what was always there, your undeniable value. Love was never designed to be a performance. It was never meant to feel like an endless audition where one person is constantly proving while the other sits as a silent judge. The truest form of love flows effortlessly, like water moving through a stream, finding its way without force, without resistance, without manipulation. When love is genuine, it does not need to be chased, begged for, or demanded. It reveals itself in moments of ease, in the quiet comfort of mutual presence, in the unspoken understanding that two hearts are meeting at the same pace. When you find yourself in the position of chasing, you are stepping into the illusion that love must be earned through pursuit. This belief twists the very nature of what love is supposed to be. Instead of allowing it to bloom freely, you try to pull at the petals, forcing them to open before their time. And the more you force, the more fragile the connection becomes. Because love that is chased is not love. It is approval wrapped in desire. It is acceptance dressed in disguise. It is a shadow of something real, but never the substance. Real love carries a rhythm, and when it is right, both hearts move to that rhythm without even needing to discuss it. It is like a song that two people know by heart, where one does not have to chase the other to keep the melody alive. But when one person is always running after the other, the song turns into noise. It loses its harmony, and the beauty of connection fades into exhaustion. To chase someone is to strip love of its natural flow. It is to try to convince another heart to meet yours when it has already chosen its own direction. But love cannot be convinced. It cannot be negotiated. It cannot be pleaded into existence. Real love does not demand that you sacrifice your dignity in order to secure attention. It does not require that you abandon your peace just to feel seen. When it is real, love finds its way without the exhaustion of pursuit. Imagine the ocean. The waves do not chase the shore. They simply arrive again and again and again in their own time, in their own strength. The shore does not run to meet the waves. It receives them. It allows them. It exists in harmony with them. This is how real love works. It flows without pressure, without one side constantly running to prove what already should be. And when you align yourself with this truth, you begin to understand that love should never leave you feeling drained, insecure, or unworthy. The danger in chasing is that it makes you believe you must fight for something that was never meant to resist you. You start to confuse effort with desperation. You start to think that the harder you work, the more you'll deserve the affection you long for. But love is not a reward for labor. It is a gift of presence. It is not about trying harder. It is about finding someone whose heart moves in sync with yours. And when love is real, it creates a space of ease. You don't have to question if you are enough because the connection confirms it in every moment. You don't have to overanalyze words or gestures because the energy between you speaks louder than explanations. You don't have to chase because both hearts are walking toward each other, not away. To demand love through chasing is to rob yourself of its natural beauty. It's like forcing a flower to bloom before it's ready. The result is never as beautiful as when it happens in its own time. Real love flows naturally because it is rooted in truth, not in fear. It is anchored in mutual desire, not in one-sided effort. And the more you allow yourself to trust in this natural flow, the more you realize that love does not need to be manufactured. It simply needs to be met. When you stop chasing, you create the space for love to come to you in its purest form. You no longer trap yourself in the exhausting cycle of proving and performing. Instead, you stand in your truth, open but not desperate, ready but not restless. And from that place, love flows, not because you demanded it, not because you forced it, but because it was meant to. Scarcity has a way of distorting reality. When you convince yourself that something is rare, your mind begins to exaggerate its value. Suddenly, the ordinary feels extraordinary, not because it truly is, but because you've told yourself there is no other option. This is what happens when you chase. Scarcity becomes the lens through which you see love. You start believing that the woman you are after is the only one capable of giving you what you seek. Her attention feels like oxygen, her presence feels like survival, and without even realizing it, you start to build an illusion. An illusion that she is irreplaceable, an illusion that without her, your life would be incomplete, an illusion that she holds something so rare that you must run endlessly to secure it. But illusions are dangerous because they blind you to truth. They make you overlook flaws, ignore red flags, and silence your own needs, all in the name of holding on to something you believe you may never find again. This is the prison of scarcity. It tells you that love is limited, that options are few, and that you must fight with desperation to keep whatever comes your way. Yet love was never meant to be scarce. Love is abundant. Love is present in friendships, in family, in purpose, in community, and in countless hearts across the world. The illusion of scarcity only convinces you to shrink your vision, to believe that there is only one source from which love can flow. When you chase under the influence of scarcity, you place all your energy in the wrong place. Instead of asking, is this connection mutual? You ask, how can I make her stay? Instead of observing, does she honor my value? You ask, what else can I do to make myself worthy? The chase becomes less about love and more about fear. Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of never finding another. And where fear leads, clarity disappears. You end up clinging to illusions, mistaking temporary attention for real connection, mistaking attraction for commitment, mistaking presence for love. Scarcity convinces you that time is running out, that opportunities are slipping away, that this one chance may be the only chance you'll ever have. And so you chase harder. You invest more than you should. You sacrifice more than you need to. You pour yourself out in ways that leave you empty. All the while, the illusion grows stronger. The more you give, the more you believe that what you're after must be valuable. Because why else would you sacrifice so much? But value is not proven by sacrifice. Value is proven by truth. If love is not flowing both ways, no amount of chasing can turn it into what it is not. Real connection does not require scarcity to make it special. It does not need you to starve yourself of other opportunities in order to feel meaningful. It thrives in abundance, where both hearts have the freedom to choose, not out of fear of losing, but out of the joy of finding. The healthiest love is not born from desperation, it is born from clarity. And clarity cannot exist where scarcity clouds your vision. When you step out of the mindset of scarcity, you begin to see differently. You realize that love is not locked inside one person. You realize that you are not bound to one chance, one connection, one possibility. You begin to understand that what is meant for you will never require you to live in desperation. And in that understanding, the illusion fades. What once looked like the only light in the world begins to look like what it truly is, just one possibility among many. Scarcity creates illusion, not connection, because real connection does not need to be forced or exaggerated. It stands on its own. It does not need to be chased. It does not need to be begged for. It does not need to be turned into something bigger than it really is. Real connection is steady, mutual, and natural. Scarcity only tricks you into believing that you must hold on tighter, when the truth is that love, when it is right, will not require chains. It will not demand pursuit. It will meet you where you are, not because you chased it, but because it was meant to align with you. Every human being carries a reservoir of energy that fuels their life. This energy is not infinite, and where it is directed determines the shape of a person's destiny. When that energy is spent chasing, when it is poured into convincing someone to notice, to accept, or to stay, it drains away from the very places where it could bring transformation. The tragedy of pursuit is not just the exhaustion it brings, but the opportunities it steals, energy that could have built dreams, advanced skills, and created lasting impact is instead wasted on the fragile hope of winning affection through constant effort. Your energy was never meant to be consumed by proving your worth to another. It was given to you so that you could build, create, and grow into the fullness of who you are. Every hour spent overanalyzing conversations, every day spent planning how to impress, every sleepless night spent wondering how to secure attention, is energy pulled away from your purpose. Purpose is where fulfillment lives. Purpose is where strength is found. Purpose is what creates attraction that is lasting and undeniable. When your energy is aligned with purpose, it changes how people see you. You no longer appear desperate. You appear driven. You no longer look restless. You look focused. And focus is magnetic. When someone is rooted in purpose, they move differently. Their time is precious. Their presence feels valuable, and their confidence becomes unshakable. This is not the confidence that comes from trying to be seen about. It is the confidence that comes from knowing they're already enough. But when that same person abandons purpose to chase, they step out of alignment with that strength. They become scattered, pulled in too many directions, drained from running after something that may never even be theirs to hold. And when purpose is neglected, emptiness follows. Think of energy as water flowing through a river. If the river flows into fertile ground, it nurtures growth, it feeds life, it brings abundance. But if that same river flows into barren land, it disappears, leaving behind nothing but dryness. Your energy works the same way. When you direct it into your vision, you're calling your growth, it multiplies and creates something greater than yourself. But when you pour it into chasing someone who is not moving toward you, it is like pouring water into sand. No matter how much you give, it never fills, it never grows, it never produces anything lasting. And here lies the truth. The right connections are drawn to purpose. They are not attracted to someone who runs behind them tirelessly. They are drawn to someone who is moving forward with intention, someone who is committed to their own growth, someone who knows where they are going. Purpose creates gravity. It pulls the right people in without you needing to chase. But when you abandon your path to follow after someone else, you not only lose yourself, you also lose the very magnetism that could have drawn love to you naturally. The energy inside of you is sacred. It is the fuel that will carry you into the future you desire. To waste it on pursuit is to treat it lightly, as if it has no greater destination than someone's attention. But your energy was designed for more. It was designed to shape your destiny, to open doors, to create opportunities, to leave an impact that outlasts your presence. Every moment you choose to chase, you trade this power for something fleeting, something that will never satisfy in the way fulfillment does. There is also freedom in choosing purpose over pursuit. When your energy is anchored in growth, you no longer fear rejection because rejection cannot stop you from moving forward. You no longer cling to what does not serve you because you are already consumed with building something greater. And in that freedom, you find peace. You no longer wait anxiously for validation, because you know that your worth is proven in what you are creating, not in who chooses to notice. Directing your energy toward purpose changes everything. It transforms the way you walk into a room, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. People sense when someone is aligned with something bigger than themselves, and that sense draws them closer. But none of this is possible if you waste your energy chasing. Pursuit drains, purpose multiplies. And the more you multiply your purpose, the more life begins to align in ways that chasing could never achieve.